All right, boys and girls. So, lunchtime. I'm actually gonna fire up TRENDKILLR today. We're gonna roll some oak in her, and I'm going to do it's essentially the same thing I do for burnt ends. We are gonna use some of our beef neck from the other day that we smoked, and I'm going to chop it, and we're gonna make some espresso beef candy and make some sliders out of it. So let's get busy. All right, so here we have one of the chunks from our beef neck. Get this out. Oh man, still smells delicious. And let me grab my knife. Just gonna hack some of this off. Like so. Get this out of our way. Save that for another day. Woohoo, man, look at that. Look at that. Man, it's the good stuff. I'm going here raw dog. Break up these smaller chunks here. I'm gonna leave the fat because that stuff's gonna render. And make some flavor. This stuff is so good. I mean, it's like a cross between brisket and roast, man, like pot roast. It's just so good. So good. And it makes fantastic beef candy. So I'm just gonna break this up. This is cold, so it helps a little bit. I don't want it too fine. Once the heat starts hitting it, and once we start throwing some more smoke at it and doing what we do to it, it's gonna break down a lot. So there's no reason to start it. It's so broken down, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna bust it up. Keep it kind of rustic. Some chunks, some chops, some shreds, that kind of stuff. And by the end of it, it'll all be pretty close to the same consistency. So we're gonna break this guy down. I'll try to do this a little faster. Those long videos are a pain in the ass to upload, man. So, but I wanna keep some of the important details in, and then by the time I'm done, I'm like, oh, this one's gonna be a short one. And I look at it and I'm like, son of a bitch, it is not. So we're going just like this. I mean, this is fairly simple. This is, I mean, short of the espresso, which I do use sometimes, this is essentially the same thing I do with burnt ends, except, you know, oh man, down soldier. So, all right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our pan here. I'm gonna get it all in there. Got my little quick wash board. I'll get that in camera view here a little bit better in 1 second. Like so. Now, like with most typical burnt ends, this is gonna be a two-step kind of deal. But right off the bat, we're gonna start out with some meat meth. This is the rustic version because I already had it made. So we're gonna sprinkle. This will give us some of that heat. And I'm sprinkling it on before the liquid, so that way the liquid can pull some down and things like that. I'm going heavy because it's gonna mix in with all the liquid we're gonna put in here anyway. So going like so. And I'm gonna toss some beef stock in there. Really no measurement because it kind of depends on how much meat, but I am going to put it in until I can just see it about a quarter of the bottom of the pan, depending on how much meat I got in there. So Not a whole lot. I'd have to say maybe a cup and a half. And then we have 2 fresh pulled shots of espresso. This adds, you know, I mean, that depth, little caramely, you know, I mean, it's espresso, man. Stuff is, it's my gasoline, boys and girls. And then this stuff right here, the Sugar Fire coffee barbecue sauce. I mean, as most of you know, I am not a big sauce fan, but this stuff is seriously, seriously good. So not much, because we are going to add some a little bit later, but I just want to get that flavor started. You know what I mean? So we are going to just give her a little love, just to let her mix in with any of that. And then let me get my spoon, and we're just going to toss it a little bit, just to make sure we have a little bit of everything everywhere, you know? It's all going to blend in. We're going to smoke this about 225, 250, you know? Probably closer to the 250 mark, honestly, because it's getting a little bit late in the day. And we want to eat lunch so we can save room for dinner. So we're just going to give that a little mix, make sure everything's covered. Most of that liquid's going to cook off. And that's it for right now. So we're going to go smoke it for a little bit and just let everything get to know each other. So let's get out there and light the pit. All right, guys. So here we are. I had to do some hash clean out. So we're going to pull out our grate. Now, everybody starts their fires a little different. Everybody just does things a little different. I personally do a square stack. So that way I'm blocking my charcoal. I get my VTUs right here. And then I have the ability to cross stack. You get excellent airflow. Wood burns nice. That's just how I do it. So got us some B&B Texas lump here, and I'm gonna get in your way here for a second. Sorry. Burn all oak, little hickory, so I don't really worry too much about my coal. My coal is pretty much strictly for starting. I don't rely on it for BTUs, nothing like that. I straight logs in there, you know? So let me give you a little better view. So there we got that. Let me toss in our fire starters. Which I forgot. I'm going to stick one here towards the bottom and one here towards the back. Now, let's give her some love, shall we? And that's about that. So, now that we got some fire there, I'm going to take a couple of clean thin, and I'm going to go like this on it. Just like so. We got our airflow, we got our stacks. Once those burn in, then you can keep going. So typically about 4 4 or 5 logs will get me to my burn temp on this beast. It's a little chillier today, so we're just gonna make sure. I'm gonna bring him in just a little bit, and I'm gonna keep my door open, but first, I'm gonna make sure my grates are, so when I do close it, and I'm gonna let this guy burn down, and then I will close the door. So we're gonna come on over here. And we're gonna fully aspirate this bad boy. Got 2 6-inch stacks. I'm gonna get ripping. So, but that's it. I'm gonna let that go. Usually takes about, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes, something like that. Once I got a good burn going on the fire, once I know the wood's ignited, then I'll close the door a little bit. Once I know I have coals burning, ready for additional logs, then I fully close my door. I keep my intake fully open at start. Once I get around 25 to temp, then I usually will choke off my intakes about halfway and leave my exhaust full bore. So thing creates awesome draw, man. I mean, the thing pulls like a madman. If I notice the wood is burning like, you know, a little too clean, like, I get my blue smoke coming out my stacks, but I notice it's just a little bit minimal, then sometimes I'll choke it down just a little bit because there's still enough draw. Nothing's going to get stale in there. The chamber's massive, so it's just something I don't really have to worry about with this thing. I kind of went, I don't know, a little bit overkill. So the water pan system that I have built in, not even going to bother using it. There's just no reason for it. We have plenty of moisture inside the pan, stuff like that. So no need for it. Nothing's going to dry out. But that's it. I'm going to let this go. We'll be back. All right, guys. We are ready. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man. The fucking choo-choo train, man. Rolling at 250 here. So let's load it up, shall we? Get you on over here. Do it just like so. I believe that should work just fine. Oh man. And I'm gonna drop these guys right here in the center. And that's a wrap. So I'm just gonna let them go. Probably, I don't know, hour, maybe 2. Just depends on how they start looking. Throw that extra smoke at them. Make sure we steep out any of that extra moisture. Things will start thickening. That beef will just break down into just delicious goodness. At the end, if I notice there's still a little too much moisture before we go on to our next step, we're going to dump some out. So I like to try and guess the best I can when I first put it in there so I don't have to deal with that shit. But hey, it happens, man. You know, nothing's perfect. But I choked my intake down half, so I'm going to keep my stacks rolling because it looks like we're chugging beautifully. So I want to throw some smoke at them guys. So I'm going to let it do its thing, and that's it. This guy, with those 5 logs that are in there, she'll hold 250 plus for I don't know, a long time, man. It's once all that 1/4-inch steel is heated up, there's so much radiant heat. The only thing actually I have to watch out for is to make sure I'm still throwing smoke at it. So, you know, so every once in a while, maybe I'll toss a log in if I notice I'm getting a little thin up there, because, you know, that's the point of a smoker. So, but otherwise, that's it. We're going to let her go. We'll check in on it a couple of times. You know, maybe give her a little mix, make sure everything gets in the pool and everything does its thing. But other than that, that's it. Get some stuff done around the house since, I don't know, America is on lockdown. So let's barbecue. All right, guys. So it's been about, I don't know, about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. So we should be pretty good. Like I said, it's getting late. So it's coming off. Let's check it out. Oh, man. Oh, look at that. You guys see that? Damn. That's smelling beautiful. All right, let's go in, do the final step. So here we got, it's looking good. Drain the excess liquid out of it. So then this is what I'm doing. Blue agave. Now we're gonna make it candy. Just gonna give her a little bit across the top here. Nothing crazy. It's a little something, something, you know. And then bring that dark sweetness in a little bit. We're going to dust the top of this with some dark brown. We have plenty of savory underneath it, like so. And unsalted sweet cream. Like that. Now I'm going to foil that, and then we're gonna put it on there. And no, actually, I'm sorry, I forgot. I eliminated foiling the last time. I realized there's just no reason for it because that first step, never mind. I was back in time. I'm just gonna throw it on the smoker. We're gonna let that stuff caramelize a little bit. Go. I bumped the smoker up. I opened the stack or the intake a little bit. Got her up to like 300. So we're gonna get that caramelized real good. Give her a toss, and we're good to go. So let's get it back on the heat. So we are just a little over 300. It's perfect. It'll work. So let's get this guy back on here. Right there in the center. Lock her in. So, all right, I'm gonna let that go. I don't know, maybe 25, 30 minutes. Just depends, you know, at the 300, comes down pretty quick. As soon as I see that brown sugar is kind of caramelized and melted into the meat a little bit, and our butter is gone, I'll give it a toss, and we're gonna make some sliders. I guess it's been about, I don't know, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, something like that. Ready for this? Let's get on over here. See what we got. See what we made. Let's see. Oh, man. Oh, snap. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that beautiful color. Come on. Come on. It's like we know what we're doing. All right. I'm going to shut this guy down and save whatever wood I got left in there. And let's go make some sliders. Let's make some sliders. So here we got our candy. Got our toasted slider buns, along with some mild cheddar on one end. Just give it a little bit of that. Give these a toss. Look at how tender that stuff is, man. Play with them too much, you don't want to break them down, you know? So, let's get generous. Drop some meat on it. Oh, you know what, I better do this actually. Otherwise it's gonna be a real pain with the slaw. So, throw some of that down. Man, it smells good. Come. And right here, got our slaw. Nice and vinegary, a little creamy. Just gonna drop some of that right on top of her. And hit them with our cheddars. Look at that, guys. Oh. Espresso beef neck candy sliders. So, all right, that's all I got. I'm gonna eat lunch.